picture this for a second. You're watching politicians argue over billions of dollars. People are still living in cars, still on sidewalks, still waiting. And somehow, they're acting like they've got this under control. Because what you're about to say, this is that situation, just at a much bigger level. And once you see how they talk about it, you're going to understand exactly why nothing gets fixed.
$24 billion of our money spent on homelessness. They have no idea where it went.
$24 billion. Just stop right there. $24 billion. And the first thing you hear is, we don't even know where it went. Are you kidding me right now? This isn't a small accounting error. This isn't, oh, we misplaced a few million. This is an entire system burning through money with no accountability. And then he says it's going into nonprofits, developers, people profiting. No. Listen carefully. That's not a side show. That's the entire issue. You don't fix homelessness if the system is incentivized to keep it going. That's the problem. That's the entire problem. And what happens next? What's how fast this shifts?
Ms. Porter, I'll allow you to respond. You have 15 seconds.
If you were in my class, Mr. Hilton, you would learn in my bankruptcy and consumer protection class that the majority of homeless people in California are actually working.
Okay, I see what you're doing. This is the pivot. You go from where did $24 billion go to let's talk about humanity of the people. Now listen, no one is saying those situations aren't real. No one is saying people aren't struggling. But that's not what was just asked. That's not what was just exposed. You had a direct accusation, massive spending, no accountability. And instead of addressing that, you shift into emotional spraying, working families, domestic violence, students in cars. Again, real issue, but completely dodging the financial black hole, which is heard about. And this is where people get frustrated because you're watching this and you're supposed to just accept it paper, like no follow-up, no pushback. This is how narratives get redirected in real time.
15 seconds.
Well, it's interesting to watch someone who has served as a talking head on a Fox News program telling us how government should run when he never has run any government in his life.
Oh, there it is. There it is. We officially move into attack mode, not the argument, the person. Talking head, never rin government. So instead of answering the question about the money, we're questioning whether he's allowed to ask the question at all. That's what this is. And look, this happens every time you bring up a systemic failure, and suddenly the conversation becomes about credentials, tone, background, anything but the failure itself. It doesn't add up, he says. Okay, then explain it. Break it down. Where did the money go? No. Instead, we get a lecture about who's qualified to speak. That's not accountability. That's deflection.
So I give the governor a B- on this. And I want to start with a simple statement, which is no one gets well on the street. What I would do is make sure to keep as many people off the street, and if they're on the street, to get them off as fast as possible. Because only 1 in 7 people who becomes homeless.
All right. Now we're getting into solutions. Kind of. No one gets well on the street. That's actually true. That's not controversial. But again, listen closely. You're hearing urgency. You're hearing compassion. You're hearing structure. But you're not hearing accountability. You're not hearing what went wrong before. You're not hearing where did billions already spent. It just has the next plan. And this is where it starts to feel like a loop. New plan, new funding, new urgency, then outcome.
Clarify that last part when you said get people off the streets and into housing. Is that something that you would force them to do?
Well, let me say this. The point about emergency interim housing is this. People want to go to it. This is something that actually is designed to meet their needs as opposed to the huge shelters or waiting 7 years to get them into permanent housing, which costs Matt Mahan was saying it costs $1 million a key, and the numbers I've heard of between $750,000 and $1 million.
Hold on. Did he just say up to $1 million per unit? Nowhere. $1 million to house one person. And this is exactly what Hilton was pointing at earlier. You built a system so bloated, so inefficient, so slow that solving the problem becomes almost impossible. 7 years waiting, hundreds of thousands, sometimes $1 million per unit. And then we act surprised nothing changes. You couldn't fix a crisis with a system like that. It's a scam. And here's the uncomfortable truth. The longer this goes on, the more money flows through it, the more people benefit from it staying exactly the way it is. This entire accent, every second of it, tells you everything you need to know. You've got billions spent, no clear answers, emotional pivots, personal attacks, and then war plans layer on top of a broken system. That's not leadership. That's not accountability. That's a political theater. And meanwhile, real people are still out there, still waiting, still stuck in the exact situation these politicians keep talking around. That's the reality. And the more you watch it, the harder it becomes to ignore just how broken this system actually is.